Here is my 1-year ownership review of the 2022 BMW M240i. This was the brand new G42 platform that I've been driving for about a year now. I wanted to give you guys my opinion on what I think of the car, how it's been for me for driving for 1 year. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of all the details of the features and everything like that, how I've been using it, navigation, driver's profile, ambient lighting, everything like that. Let you guys know my opinion on it and how I've had my setup for what I've been driving for the last year. Now, this is a Heya Spec 2 package vehicle, but I've done a few modifications to it. NeonNine Designs helped me transform the exterior look, give me this M Performance livery across the car, and I absolutely love it. All my fans have been able to tell who's driving this car around Toronto. I did convince my manager to put on the 8 Series Catalog 763 Gold wheels, which have been phenomenal. Normally this car came with the standard 19-inch 791 black wheels. It's also a Heya Spec 2 package, Alpine white exterior. So I'm gonna go through, get behind the camera, and show you guys my opinion on the car and all the features and everything like that. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing I wanna talk about is the vehicle looks. The M240 has a lot of unique things to it. Now, I know my M240 with the tri-color wrap that it doesn't look like a normal one. Like the wrap is loud, kind of transforms the look of the vehicle. I got gold wheels on it, which also are not what you're going to be getting from the factory on an M240. But let me talk about the reasons of why I like the M240 even before the modifications that I did to it. Now, at the back, there isn't too much that I personally love about the vehicle. A lot of people didn't really like the taillights. I don't really hate them. I do like how they are together, and then the sides here kind of comes around the shape of the old 2 Series as well. The exhaust pipes, personally, I do not like. I do not like the exhaust tips. I preferred it when they had the single exhaust tips coming out there instead of this kind of like fake exhaust tips. I do like the rear diffuser, so even without the tri-colors on there, I do like the 3 fins for the rear diffuser. Overall, I like the rear end overall design. I like the fact that you get the lip spoiler here on the trunk lid. That's awesome. I love the rear fender arches. Now, it's hard to see from the side, but when you come to the back, you can really start to see how bubbled out and how wide those rear fender flares are. You can see the line right there from where the doors are, curving over here. So the rear fender arches is aggressive. It's like it's on an M2 car. It's hard to imagine how much more the M2 will come out. The last 2 Series was pretty flat along the side, didn't really have much curvature to it. And then on the front as well, same thing, like it's beefy. Like the fender flares stick out so much. It doesn't just drop right down. The wheels didn't sink in as much. And then there's the fender there. So I love the exterior styling of the car. I love the fact that it gets the M mirror caps. Now, I do love the fact that it has the black side skirt. But the one thing that I think BMW could have done better is they could allow you to have it painted the same body color if you want it as an option. So say this is Alpine white, you could also get that in Alpine white. I think a lot of people would have chose that, and then it could have had as a no charge option to have it black or painted the body color. I do love the door handles right here. So this was the first introduced on the 2 Series, and now it's also on the i4 as well, and it's starting to come across other BMWs that are getting facelifts or getting these door handles. But that's one thing I liked with the 2 Series when I got it, was that door handle was unique to the 2 Series. Then you have the M mirror caps. I love the fact that the M240 now has the M mirror caps. Pretty much the first mod that anybody does aftermarket is they put M mirror caps on their car, so why not have BMW include it from the factory and make the buyers happy? Everybody keeps talking about M lights are not full M's and they're watered down. Well, this car is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal car, and it's better than a lot of M cars have been in the past. Like the hood has this massive power dome. Even the power dome from the old M3 and the old M4s were not as big. This is pretty much the biggest power dome BMW's ever put on them, on a vehicle. And you can kind of see from the side, it looks like a shark. And then I have the black wrapped around there for the power dome to really highlight that accent. At the front, not everybody loved the kidney grills. I actually love the fact that it doesn't go all the way down the bottom, not like the M3 or the M4, and the fact that it's the unique kidney grill. So most of the things on the 2 Series are unique to only the 2 Series. These are active vanes that will open up in 10 different variants depending on how much air it needs to suck onto the inside. I actually like the fact that the headlights are a single halo instead of the twin halos. Not really loving the fact of like how they're looked and everything, just the fact that it's different and unique to the 2 Series. I do love the fact the gold built into the adaptive LED headlights, pretty sweet. Now, everything below the front bumper, I'm Wouldn't say I love it. Wouldn't say I love the black triangles in the bumper. I do like a bit of this, but I have found that BMW not as aggressive with their front bumper design as say like an M2 competition. But overall, like, I love these unique factors. I love the fact that these headlights, you won't find them on any other BMW, especially when a lot of BMW models carry over a lot of stuff where the grille is unique, the headlights are unique, the door handles were unique, the taillights were unique. I loved all of that unique stuff that's only available on the 2 Series. The M mirror caps on the 240 is starting it. Now all the other M cars are getting M mirror caps. Now personally, I love these wheels. They have a bit more offset than the factory wheels do, the 791 black wheels that it came with. I wasn't a big fan of them. I don't really like black wheels, but I do like how those standard wheels had more concave to them than the old 2 Series. The old 2 Series wheels were just flat. Now this one's not the standard ones, but it's definitely, the standard ones were an upgrade, and I absolutely love these gold 763 wheels. I also love the massive M Sport brakes that the vehicle comes with, and even comes with an option to get larger front brake discs and an extra engine oil cooler for anybody who plans on tracking it. I think that's a phenomenal option. One thing I don't like about the brakes is the fact that I went to a floating rear caliper at the back, but I understand why they did that because of the automatic brake hold function. So it makes sense, but I'm not overall in love with it. Now let's talk about the interior of the vehicle. So this car is equipped with the Decor red Vernasca leather interior. Now I do have a bunch of stuff in the passenger seats and the back seats, so just ignore all that stuff, but let's talk about these seats. These seats are extremely comfortable. They're great daily driving. Now, Sensatec is a bit of a softer surface, so some people choose to go with that. And then you have Vernasca. It's sad that there's no merino leather, but being the entry series BMW, merino leather, not many people would pay for it, so it makes sense why it's not on the car and not in the Mexico factory. But overall, I do like the seats. Now, I will say I wish there was better seats. Now, Mercedes comparison, I was sitting in a friend's Mercedes, and it was like their smallest chassis with the AMG, and they had these sweet seats in it that were thinner, had the holes for harnesses. They just looked phenomenal. And BMW also offers pretty much the M3 and the M4 seats in the 2 Series in different marketplaces, but not in Canada. So I wish we were able to get those seats inside this car. One thing I do like on the interior is the ambient lighting. Now, don't worry about my door light. I do love that, but that's not factory, so I'm not going to talk about that. Now, I do love the ambient lighting on the inside. I would have preferred to get the M highlighters, but I do like how this kind of pattern comes up here, and it's unique, and it's only on the 2 Series. The door handle is unique as well. I do like that. One thing I don't like is the fact that ambient lighting on the inside doesn't light up here. There's no ambient lighting bar here, no ambient lighting bar down here. Like the M340 and the 4 Series and the upper series, they have more ambient lighting in it. I wish BMW put more ambient lighting inside of the 2 Series. M Performance steering wheel is great to drive. Personally, I find it a little bit thick. I do prefer the F chassis steering wheel over the G chassis steering wheel, but overall, like, it's still great to drive, has all the functions. One thing I do love is that you can skip songs now, and your heated steering wheel is in the center here, instead of being like hidden all the way back here. Adaptive LED headlights with the automatic high beam function is a must. Same thing with automatic wiper blades is fantastic. Now let's talk about the infotainment. So how I usually drive the car. Comfort is when you always start up, and then I'll usually have Sport Plus, Eco Mode. I'll usually use Eco Mode, like if I'm cruising on the highway and I just want to be fuel efficient, I got cruise control on, I'll put Eco Mode on there. Most times I find I drive in Comfort Mode now. When I first got the car, I was like Sport Plus all the time. And then the stiffer suspension, I would start noticing it, so then I would start to go down to Comfort. And then I also started driving a bit in Sport Individual. And the way that I configured my Sport Individual was basically like comfort settings on everything, except for the engine was Sport. Just so the engine was faster, but then like the suspension steering would still be on Comfort. So that was my Sport Individual settings. But now mostly I'll either drive in Sport Plus or I'll drive in Comfort. One thing that I love about the modes and everything is even when you're in Comfort mode, if you just go down and you go into Sport mode, like the engine picks up and it's still pretty fast. Or like if you need to, you can just press and hold the left paddle shifter and the car will enter in like sprint mode and automatically shift you down to the lowest gear, and then it will go back after you're not using it anymore. Or if you want to just enter manual mode, you can just downshift right away. It'll go to the gears that you want. And then after a while of not thinking about it, it will move back to drive as long as your transmission shifter is to the right. If you are pushed over in the left, it's just going to stay in manual mode until you push back over. Now, engine start stop, I don't really care about this. Like, it doesn't matter to me if it shuts off or it shuts on. It's a lot smoother than it used to be. You don't really notice it as much. Traction control, I just leave this on all the time. There's been a few times where I've taken it off. And I do appreciate when you take it off and like nothing like interjects or anything like that. Activating launch control in Sport Plus with traction off. Launch control is like one of my favorite features. Every time I come to a red light, I'm at the very start and nobody's ahead of me, I always love to just put it on there and just do a quick launch just to get up to the speed limit. And the nice thing is there's no limit on the launch controls that you can do. You can just take off and you can have a lot of fun with it. Cruise control is great. I wish I had active stop and go cruise control. That'd be nice if that was a standard feature, but it's a BMW car and you actually don't find yourself on cruise control too often. Now coming over to the actual infotainment screen, like it's nice that it's here. I don't use it too much. Like even head-up display, like I don't use my head-up display too much. Like I have toned it down to basically just my speed. I really only show my speed. I don't have cruise control up there. I don't have the sport gauges up there. I don't have the navigation. I don't like any of that stuff up there. The nice thing is you can customize everything the way that you want it. So when you go into displays, no, that's vehicle doors and access. When you go into displays, you go into head-up display. This is how I have my settings. So I have the brightness on neutral. I have the height up a little bit and I have my rotation over. For some reason, like, I don't know, I was finding like it looked like it was tilting. So I did my rotation over. I don't have a navigation because I don't like to see it. I just find like it's too much stuff. Like 90% of the time that I'm driving, I know where I am and I know where I'm driving. Now I did take a trip to the States a little while ago. When I was going to the States, I did turn this back on so like it could tell me and I could see it on my head-up display and be more aware. Now additional displays, I have those off as well. I don't even do automatic. So automatic would be when you go to sport mode, it gives you these RPM rev ranges. I don't really care for that stuff. When I went to the track, I did turn them on, but besides that, like, I don't need to see my RPMs. I'm not manual. Even if I am manual, I don't really need to see my RPMs. And then your safety systems. Now, it doesn't have stop and go cruise control, so you're not seeing that car in front of you. It's really just telling you what speed you have it set on. And when I'm in cruise control, like, I don't need to see that on the head-up display all the time, so I just turn that off. Speed limit system, I have excess speed display, so it goes red while there. I don't have the warn when speeding. And then infotainment, I do, like, if I want to change songs or anything, I do leave that in head-up display. And that is how I've navigated my head-up display and how I've been using it. One thing as well is, like, at nighttime with this infotainment, like, it's really bright. It's it can be really bright here, like all toned up, and at nighttime it is so bright. So I've actually dialed mine down and I have it all the way dialed down. All my other cars, I have it bright, but now you have a 12-inch display screen, a 10-inch display screen. That's a lot of light coming at me, so I tone those down, and this is what it looks like while I'm driving at night, instead of it looking more crisp and clear like this. I usually just leave my lights on auto as well, and I honestly haven't even really been using the high beam assistant because I don't really drive anywhere where I need to use my high beams, not that often. If I am, I like to turn it on. It's useful in like the back roads and stuff, but in the city, I don't use it too much. Let's finish up with infotainment display. So I'll go through the rest of my settings, how I have everything set up. Let's see, so I already showed you my driver's modes. Exterior lighting, I just leave that pretty much the way I got it. Driver's assistance, I have all this stuff toned down. So pre-collision, I have it on late. Lane departure warning, I have off. No steering intervention. Blind spot monitoring, I have it on late. I just want to know when a car is there because it will be on early and you're like worried about making lane change, but I only want to know when the car is like immediately on me. Speed limit assistance, speed warning, parking and maneuvering, I leave the volume there. Steering wheel feedback, I have the vibration set at light. Now I do have where is it? No, it must be on a different setting. I'll get there. Displays, doors and vehicles access. I do not use the digital key. I have it in here. It's activated, but I never use it because I prefer to keep my key fob in my pocket. The reason I use the key fob over the digital key or even the cell phone digital key is because you have to tap this every time. Or when I'm at comfort door access, I love the fact that it will lock and unlock as soon as I walk away from the car, and that's why I don't use the digital key. Now, one thing that I do love about this car is the sound at startup. So we'll have it off and we'll start it up. I'm not sure how much the mic picked up, but in my underground parking, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Maybe I'll put the window down and then see what it sounds like. Absolutely love that. Then I just leave everything. Like, I don't like to unlock the doors when it's in park, only when I shut off the car. And I like to fold the mirrors in when I'm done at the end of the trip. Interior lighting, I always like to leave it on blue, even with the Decor Red interior. At nighttime, the Decor Red's really dark, I can't tell. And I've been through all the colors, and personally, I just love the blue. Dynamic light, I really like the dynamic. So if the car's running and you open up the door, it's gonna start flashing red there. I do like that, good for production or anything. And I don't like dimming it for nighttime driving because I don't find it's even bright at all. So I always just leave it on full. There's no really here, there's a little bit by your legs, and it's mainly just on the door panel. Climate control, preconditioned ventilation, remote engine start is the #1 thing. I use this every single day. I'll use it in the winter to start the car up, and I use it in the summer to cool the car down. I'm almost getting out of work in a suit and I don't want to be sweaty. Key button settings is kind of like, could be in the other section, but I always leave it on all doors. And that's pretty much all of my iDrive settings that I go through. As far as like the actual main ones, so like media, I think this is great. Like between Bluetooth, I usually am on my phone, but if I love the presets menu, selecting my favorite stations. Communication, I almost never use this. I don't really like, I just accept phone calls, or if I'm making phone calls, I'll usually like click the phone button and then I'll look in my head-up display to see who I'm calling. It's hard to see there, but yeah. Navigation, I actually love the navigation. I love the fact that I can put in more than one destination. So like if I want to navigate home, but then I also want to navigate to work, I can add this as a stop. I love just like loading up all my errands for the day and all the maps, and I have an estimated time of when I'm going to get home. I really like the navigation. Real-time traffic info, it's pretty much as accurate as Apple Maps, so I usually use that more. Customize, this is how I have my layout, like sport gauges there, but like I never swipe over. There's never a need to see any of this information like weather or anything. Your time is over here, your time's on your gauge cluster too. One thing I will say is navigation is a bit redundant. Like I have navigation here, I have the navigation here, and you could potentially have it in your head-up display. That's why I removed it from my head-up display, because I already have it in my gauge cluster and I already have it here. Why do I need it in head-up display? After that, apps, I never come into here. Never. I don't use Android. I don't use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Installed apps, like I never come into this section. There's really nothing in here. Like lap timer was cool, but I don't really go to the track. Took this car on the track. Wasn't that fun with these seats compared to my E36. So that's pretty much everything for infotainment screen. Coming down, I never had any issues here. Heated seats are good. Like everything works the way it should. My favorite button is the Max AC. My absolute favorite button. Use that all the time. And then everything else I just leave on auto mostly. 21 degrees, the lowest fan is pretty much all year round is what I do. Coming down my 1 through 8s, absolutely love the 1 through 8s. I have them, I use them all the time. 1 and 2, I use the most. 3, I don't really use anymore since I lost satellite radio. Sport gauges, they're cool, but I didn't even use them on the track. Like actually looking at them was not really necessary. Same thing with the M lap timer. I just run out of space. I like to leave 7 as driver profile so I can switch between my girlfriends and my driver profile. Driver profile is fantastic when you have another driver who's in the car. Like my girlfriend, she goes into her settings and none of my settings get messed up. She absolutely loves it. Coming down, the cup holders, wireless charging tray I never use it. I feel like it doesn't charge my phone fast enough and my phone just heats up really hot. So I like never use this at all. When I do put my phone in my car, I like to sit it either right here or just inside my cup holder. USB port, it's good for charging things. I've never used this the time I've been here. And this whole closing the flap thing here, like I never do that. Like the flap just stays open 24/7. iDrive controller is pretty good. I do draw on it sometimes. I've been using that lately, but overall don't use it too much. Short keys are pretty good. Don't use them too much. Parking systems, like it's always good to see what's around your car. Always enjoy that system. Engine start stop is there. It's okay. We went over sports. Adaptive mode. With the adaptive suspension, you get adaptive mode. I have personally never used adaptive mode. Auto hold brake feature, absolutely love this feature. I use it all the time. I love it. I love the fact that even with the parking brake, as soon as you go into drive, it will take off the parking brake. Everything activates automatically when you shut the car off, Parking brake automatically goes on when you have auto hold, so absolutely love that. The trim is all right. They're changing the trim for 2023. Won't be able to get the this Texagon trim anymore, and you'll be rhombical trim. Universal garage door opener. I live in a condo, never use that feature. I do like the fact that the sunshade is now fully powered, so that's awesome. That's a nice step up. Little blue lights. SOS button has been good, although when I did call the one time, it's like they didn't even know what car I was in, so that was interesting. I figured they would know from my VIN like who's calling and everything like that with everything set up, but nope. Harman sound system is good. I'm not much of a sound person, so it doesn't really matter for me, so that's kind of like whatever. Cup holders along the door are good. Always leave my sunglass holders in here, that's good. Trunk release button, I almost never use. All right, so that's pretty much all I have. Before I end the video, I do want to give a quick shout out to the limited slip differential, or the M Sport differential in this car. It is absolutely awesome. Check this. You take full traction control off and she sure slides around. It's a lot of fun in the parking lots. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys appreciate the BMW content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.